example. Volunteer. I'm volunteering. When you stand down here, please stand down. Okay. He is the small gear. I am the bigger diameter gear. Right? I'm bigger diameter. Right? So he is going to spin at 2 radians per second. Okay. Me being bigger, I have to spin slower, right? To maintain the same velocity. So if you like go slow, just like that, don't get headache. You won't forget anything in 2 feet. Okay. So when I come in, keep on spinning. Okay, when I come in, because it's going, when I come in, when I mesh him here, we have to rotate on the same one. Velocity. Then I spin. You can see me going quicker. Keep on turning. Because omega V equal to what? Omega R, yes or no? When we touch, I have to be at the same velocity. Are we clear? Okay, so thank you. You won't forget anything in 2D. It's static, it's not moving. Okay, you're required. Does that make sense now? You can see me. You can see me spinning at 2 radians per second, but I'm spinning slower, right? Because I have a bigger radius flow. Yes.
Visualize these equations, right?
There's no equation here.
Okay, so VR equals VC because they're matched, right?
Yes.
So
VBR.
And the radius of R should be the omega of C times the radius of C.
Wait, let me don't go too much. Just take your time. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes or no? So if you cannot remember, just remember your name. Having the smaller gear and Eugene the big gear spinning. Are we clear? Yeah, or not? We're gonna have issue, right? So from here, right, we know that VC is equal to 0. And then there's another point down here. And this point, this point over here will have a velocity. Okay. And this velocity is equal to VB. Okay, that velocity is equal to V. And you look at where the point is exactly over here where the mesh occur. We can declare that VB is equal to what? VA. Because they're in mesh. Yes or no? You have to follow the mesh. Okay. So now, with the ring fixed, okay, so we can first of all form this equation. Okay, so remember, still the same concept. Detect your rigid body. What are your rigid body? Okay, so for this case, the rigid body right? Member DE and gear C, gears B and C. Okay, these are your rigid member. Okay, so let's focus on member DE. Okay, so on member DE, okay, member DE, we know that VD is equal to VA plus by omega DE cross R D from point E. Okay. So we know VD only has one direction at this instance. Yes. B and C, gear B and C, because they are fused together, they are one gear. I mean, they are rotating at the same angular RPM. Yeah. Yes, you have a question. You okay? Okay. So for now, we know that VE is equal to what? 0. Omega DE is what? Omega DE given to us, given, and is rotating at an anti-clockwise. Okay. So anti-clockwise is positive omega K cross R D from point E. So it's equal to what? 0.2 plus by 0.3. 0.2 plus by 0.3, and it's in the I. Okay. So this will be equal to 18K cross 0.5 I. K cross I is positive, so this is equal to positive 9J. Okay. So now we have our VD that is equal to 9J. Okay. So the next thing we have to focus is, what is this rotation of omega BC? Okay. So if you were to focus on the gear, if this is, oh no, the wheel is rotating. Okay, sorry, the wheel is rotating. So this thing will rotate in this direction, yes or no? Right? So when it rotates in this direction, any idea? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? Anyone? Friday, right? I also don't know. So we don't know, fine. I'm going to assume it that's going down this way, and this will be our omega BC. I don't know. Okay, it can be either way. Don't be so stated. Okay. Later on, if it's wrong, the sign will just change on its own. Are we clear? Okay. So from here, we will write. So now we are going to treat this entire diagram as a single rigid body. I deliberately position all this on a single line, as you can see down here, because later on it's easy for us to what? It's easy for us to relate. Okay. So the first equation I'm going to form is, we now know this is our VC, right? So VC is equal to VD plus by omega BC cross R point D, sorry, C from point D. Okay. So we know that VC is equal to 0. VD is equal to what? 9J positive plus by omega BC, I'm assuming, okay? So just to ease your mind, omega BC is the assumed direction. Okay. So this will be equal to minus omega BCK cross R D. So this is our point D, right? And we want to go to our point C. So D to point C, that gear, the radius is 0.1. Okay, so D to point C is 0.1 I. Okay. So from here, we can figure out that this is equal to 0. This is equal to 9j. K cross I is positive, right? And then minus 0.1 omega BCJ, right? So in terms of J component, 0, 9 minus 0.1 omega BC. Omega BC is equal to 9 divided by 0.1, and this gives us positive 90 radians per second. So we know what is our omega BC now, okay? So the next thing, so we know the question asks what is omega BC. So this is one of the answers. So the next part, they want us to determine what is our omega. So we can clearly state that this direction is our omega A. This direction is our omega BC. Okay. So VB direction is correct. So now we can find our VB. Okay. Again, we are still on the single rigid body. So now you can form two equations. Okay, you can form two equations. So I will give you the two alternatives. Okay, I will move this down. Okay, we can use two equations, and both will get the same answer. Okay, let me elaborate. So we are going to select point C, or we're going to use point C and point D. So we're going to use point C and point D. Sorry, point C and point D. Okay, we're going to use point C and point B. Okay, so this over here, this over here is also my point B. Okay, so we're going to form the equation over there. Okay, so we want to find what is our VB. This will be equal to our VC plus omega BC cross R point B from C. Okay. For this case, VC is equal to 0 plus omega BC is minus 90K cross RB, okay, from point C. So it's going to be a negative what? Negative how many? Okay, negative I. So B, okay, so B, so this is equal to 0.3 plus by 0.1, 0.4. Okay. So B 0.4, C minus 0.4 I. Okay. So 90. So K cross I is positive. 90 times by 0.4 is equal to 36 meters per second. Okay, 36 J meters per second. Okay, positive. Positive over here means the direction is also correct. Now, we can also use point. Okay, we can also use, okay, we can also use point D, point B, and point D. Okay, so if the only difference is this. So if we are going to find VB is equal to VD plus by omega BC cross R B from point D. Okay. So this will be equal, so VD is 9J plus by omega BC, still the same, minus 90K, cross RB from point D. Okay, so point D, so we have to look at our dimension. The gear